Hello and welcome to the Slingshot channel. Today I will proudly present to you the first mass production knife that I have designed and that is sold under my name, the RazorTanto. But first let me talk a little bit about the history of this. It's like, for me it's absolutely natural to carry a knife because I have 1,000 opportunities where I need it every day. But the thing is that really, for me, an EDC knife, sometimes I need a really solid, powerful blade that's really for, like a workhorse. And sometimes I need something really, really sharp, ideally hollow ground and more like a razor blade. But there was no knife on the market that did both purposes for me. So probably I've been thinking maybe it is necessary to have a knife with two blades. And I happen to have one in my collection. It's actually a Spyderco knife that I probably bought like 20 years ago on one of their factory sales in Golden, Colorado. And here it is. I forgot the model name and it's certainly discontinued. But it's a fine knife and actually it has two blades. One blade is non-serrated and one is serrated and kind of blunt. And this is very pointy. So the construction is really cool. I mean, both blades lock with a back lock, which is really solid. The only thing that I didn't like is that the blades are so thin. These blades are just about 2 to 2.5 millimeters in thickness. And even though it's pretty good steel, it says it's ATS 55, and I have no doubts that it truly is ATS 55. For my taste, this is just not masculine enough. This is not a man's knife. And therefore, I like the idea, but I don't like how they put it into reality. And I thought about, how can I make one that really fits my needs? So I've been sitting down and doing some sketches first, and I've done this on Facebook, collecting you guys' ideas and feedback. Started out with wooden constructions. I even had a vote how the solid blade needs to be shaped. Great majority of people wanted a Tanto blade, and I like that as well. So in the end, I made a wooden prototype that I really liked. It worked really well. And then I talked to Böker, a German company in Solingen, a very traditional steel city. That is a company that's been around for like 300 or 350 years making knives. So they have a huge amount of experiences. And I talked to them, and finally we settled on a project. And it was limited to just 600 pieces. And of course it just takes an eternity to get this. So it took them about a year to really get it out of production. But here it is, the RazorTanto, designed by me and actually produced by Böker. Let me show you its features. So as you see, it has the same kind of principle, but then you can see the difference in the blade thickness quite easily. This is a man's knife. It is heavy, it is solid, it's made from steel and aluminum, and it has two blades that are completely different to each other. So one blade is actually a pin opening Tanto blade, and as you see, the material of the blade is VG10 on the Tanto. I selected it because it's really a good steel and it doesn't rust. And on the other side of the blade you will see that this is number 001 of 600. Each one of these knives is numbered on both blades. And as I said, production is limited to 600 pieces. There won't ever be any more of those. And the other blade is actually something that is hollow ground, much like a razor. It's actually shaped like a razor blade. It is blunt, of course, on the tip, but it is very sharp on the edge. And as you see, it is numbered on that blade as well. And it carries my signature and the steel type, which in this case is an HCR 13 MOV steel, so it's stainless as well. And as you see, both blades actually have nail grooves. And that is because I want it to be legally carryable in Germany too. Well, in Germany, a knife can only be carried if it's not both locking and one hand opening. So it can be locking as long as it's not to be opened with one hand. Or vice versa. I decided that I do want the lock because, I mean, it's a safety issue for me. It's so dangerous if a blade closes down on your fingers. So this back lock really makes sure that this works. And as you see, this pin here can be removed. And if you do, I clarified this with the authorities. This is a legal knife because it's clearly not made for fighting. It's a utility knife and an EDC. And therefore, if you remove this pin, then you have to use the finger grooves to open it, which can be done very quickly, like that. Is it sharp? Let's find out. Sharp enough for you? I know, you guys always keep making fun about my shorts. What's the reason why I'm wearing those? First of all, it's really comfortable when it's warm, and it is warm currently. And also because these jeans have been worn out so much that I had to cut them off or throw them away altogether. Therefore I decided to go for the economy version. Now what I like is that if one of the blades is closed, which is usually the case, then it gives the frame some depth. This means that it makes it really nice to hold on to it, because it feels like a much thicker handle, even though of course it shouldn't be too thick, otherwise it's not going to sit well in the pocket. Also, of course, you have the clip, and the clip can actually be changed to 4 different locations, so you can put the clip wherever you want to. Now, of course, you can also have both blades open, and then probably people have some fighting techniques that can be a benefit. I don't see it though. I think usually you will only work with one of the blades, but this one is a sturdy workhorse, and this one is very, very sharp for all the precise cutting tasks that you have. Okay, so how much does it cost? Well, it's not cheap. I mean, these are 2 blades from really expensive steel, and remember, only 600 pieces, so it's not a high volume mass production. So the price is 98 euros, and actually if you buy it until the 30th of September this month, then you will get it free of shipping charges worldwide. This means even if you order it from the North Pole, we're gonna deliver it to you for free. Just for the 98 euros that it costs. And if you want to order it, the link to my store is down below. Just hurry, because 600 pieces, it's limited. Now, if you don't have 98 euros to spend on a knife, even though I can promise that it's worth every penny, there's still a way how you can get one. You can probably get the most valuable one. It's this one. It's the prototype. This actually is a one-of-a-kind thing, because it does not yet have the fingernail grooves. So you can open it, of course, just like any knife, just like that. As you see, it doesn't have any numbers on it, and it doesn't have a signature on it. It's a pre-production model, and it's one of a kind. So this means that it's the only one that does not have a number, which ridiculously makes it the most rare one. So you can win this. Simply leave a comment down below and tell me how you like the knife and how you like the GoGun website. And any feedback would be really appreciated. In any case, I will do the drawing next week, Sunday, and therefore make sure that you check back. The winner will be named on my Facebook page. Also, I have some news regarding the repeating crossbow, Cobra crossbow, that I designed a magazine for it just specifically. So it's now a 6-shooter, fast repeating, lever action crossbow. The first thing I did is I built a bolt with a nice hunting broadhead. As you see, it's flat so that you can still stack it in the magazine. And as you see, the vanes have suffered a bit because this is now such a good penetrator that it goes all the way into the archery mat. And then, of course, the vanes suffer a little bit. This now brings up the bolt weight from 8 grams to about 14 grams. And of course, it also makes it much more front heavy. And as you see, I also changed the magazine so it can now accept broadheads as the tips as well. But also EK Archery reacted, and they actually offered that we can collaborate in the future. I was really thrilled about this, and I still am. Because then they immediately sent me a bunch of goodies. like this quiver here that fits to the weaver rail, where you can put on arrows, just like this. So you can put up to 6 arrows onto here. And then I guess this gives you reserves. I mean, with the magazine it's not so important, but for the model without the magazine I think it makes a lot of sense to have this. But what they also sent is a replacement bow. Because it's so easy to exchange the bow limbs, because you don't have to unstring the whole thing. They sent me a 130-pound one. I think it's experimental, So this is nothing that they are actually selling, but they are definitely experimenting with it. It's a little thicker than the original one, but not much. This is about 5 millimeters and this is about 6 millimeters in thickness. It is really not that much thicker, but it does have more resistance, and it brings the energy of the weapon from about 21 joule to about 31 joule. So as to be expected, it added about a third of energy, but in terms of speed, that really is a game changer, because now the standard bolts are no longer doing 240 FPS, but 290 FPS, and that is a big difference. They also sent me some prototypes of their new longer arrows. I mean, this is the length of the original arrow and this is the new one, so this is more like a full-blown crossbow arrow. And also the tip is now removable, so if I remove it, see, it's a tiny tip, but it is removable. Now you don't really need a longer bolt for the extra weight, because actually this is only 12 grams and this is 14 grams, so you can achieve the same kind of additional momentum with a shorter, heavier bolt. The reason why they're making it so long is because then actually the tip protrudes a little bit over the muzzle side of the crossbow, and this means that you can remove this and replace it with the 3D broadhead. So any kind of hunting broadhead will work fine, and you're not getting into any problems with the weapon. But of course, this is a no-go if you want a magazine. And I do want a magazine. Now, of course, we need to test the penetration power of this weapon with the new 130-pound limb and also with the new broadhead arrow. And therefore I prepared some ballistic gelatin. Of course, again, with some skin over it. And of course, we put the same kind of t-shirt over it. And also some kind of an overcoat to simulate a clothed enemy. And this time, of course, no riveted chainmail. Sorry guys, but the thing is that this is not an FX airgun airbow. This is a much cheaper crossbow, and therefore I don't think that it would be fair to test it against riveted chainmail. Okay, we are shooting from 10 meters distance, and I will do 2 shots with the normal arrows first, and then number 3 is with the broadhead. And I will try to shoot a little bit to the side so I'm not hitting one bolt with another one. Cocking with the 130-pound bow limb seems exactly the same. It may be a third heavier, but with a long lever you don't feel it really. Okay. And now comes the broadhead. Let's inspect the damage. Okay, clearly all 3 arrows penetrated. Let's turn it around a little bit. Okay, and we can also see that penetration was about the same for all the 3 bolts. It really didn't change much that we had a broadhead here. Even though, of course, the broadhead did cut a wider wound canal than the other ones. But I believe that's very impressive penetration for a pistol crossbow. Here's an interesting little thing. This was the one that I used to test the FX Airgun Ranchero, and funny is I left it outside and didn't throw it on the heap. And this means that it's completely dried out. It's now hollow. Seems like the 95% water that forms all of our bodies is the same here. And this now is completely hardened, and I think it's much like rawhide. Very tough material. So interesting fact. Now they say that the bolts will be sold in October. So, and also the same goes for the quiver. Regarding the crossbow limb, I think they're still experimenting with it. I'm not sure if this will ever come to market, so maybe I have another collector's item. Of course, you can get the crossbow and the knife on my website, link down below. Of course, the magazine is a one-piece only for now. Who knows, maybe it will go into production someday, but right now you can only get the crossbow. But with the quiver, it's quick reloading, and for like a 200 euro complete thing, I believe it's one of the coolest tactical pistol crossbows that we have. And also don't forget to leave a comment down to this video if you want to win this one-of-a-kind pre-production RazorTanto. Good luck. Hope you like this, because that's it for today. Sorry. Let me put the knife away so I can repeat the crossbow. Thanks and bye. Bye.